Yep. Alright, so girls, let me just quickly do what we did last lesson because I didn't upload the video and you girls weren't here. Alright, so what we did last lesson, the first thing you got to do is you need to find the x-intercepts when it's factorized, okay? When there's, see how this x doesn't have a bracket? That means x is equal to 0 here by itself, okay? Yes. From this bracket, take the opposite sign of minus 3. It's just plus 3. And this one then similarly would be equal to? Negative 1. Okay? So and then what you need to do is plot those numbers. We've got 3 and 1, so 1 and 3. And if you multiply the x's out, you know how x times x is x squared? Sorry? Oh, sorry. Whoops, I made a mistake. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so now if you do x times x is x squared, and then if you times it again with the next bracket, what do you get? X cubed, yeah? But it's positive x cubed. Keep that in mind. Because if you have a positive sign, it means the graph has to look this way. Okay? It's got to end with the tail of the graph increasing. That means positive x cubed. Okay? Whereas if the graph had negative x cubed, it would look this way. Okay? Where the tail is going down. Alright? So that's the difference between plus and minus x cubed. Alright? So it's always got to be factorized so you can tell what the x values are. To find the y-intercept, which is the point, in this case the y-intercept is 0. But if you want to find the y-intercept, I won't do it here. What do you substitute?
X, 0.
X equals 0. Substitute x equals 0 here and you'll find the y-intercept. Alright, which I won't do here. Girls, similarly here, what does x equal to here? 3. And x equals to minus 2. And we've also learned if the bracket, ladies, if the bracket has a squared, that means there is a double root at x equals to 3. And what that means, if you have a double root, let me just plot the points. X equals to 3, y equals to minus 2. And girls, if I expand this bracket out, will I have a positive or a negative x cubed?
Positive.
Positive x cubed, yeah? Because that's x squared times another x is positive x cubed. Yep. So now, one more thing. If it's a double root at that point x equals to 3, you have to draw a mini parabola at that point. Okay? The reason why we draw the parabola this way and not concave down is because the graph has to end with a positive tail. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then continue the graph where it also has to go through that other point. This graph would look, if this graph had a negative in front, it would look this way. So you'll go this way. Girls, can you stop? So you'll go this way, and then you would have to look like that. Can you see the difference? Yep. So when there's a double root, you have to draw a mini parabola, either concave up or down, depending on the sign in front of the x cubed. Now, the reason why I want to go through what we did last lesson is now I'm going to introduce you to Quartic Graph, where Quartic Graph is where you have x to the power of 4. Because this is x cubed, right? X cubed times another x next to it gives you
4.
X to the power of 4, and it's going to be positive. Keep that in mind. Now, girls, see how there's a power of 3 on that bracket? Okay, first of all, this is x equals to 4. That means that x equals to 4, we now have a, can you read that? Triple root. And if you have a triple root, at that point, you either have to draw that or that at that point, depending on the sign in front of the x to the power of 4. In this case, it's positive, so you draw this one. Okay, so let's continue. Right, so I'm going to draw minus 1 and 4. So 4 and minus 1. And at x equals to 4, I have to draw this. So draw a mini graph like that. Okay, and this is what the graph is going to look like. So if I just continue this graph and it has to go through that as well, it's going to look like this. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, the tail of the graph is going up. It's increasing. That makes sense because the sign in front of the highest power is positive. All right? Girls, similarly, if we had a negative in front, instead of drawing this cubic graph, you will need to draw that. Okay? How would that work if I continue this graph and it has to go through that as well? Just continue the graph where it goes through minus 1 and at the end it's going down.
So do you have to find the y?
Yes, you do. I won't do that here because you know how to do it. Do I need to explain it?
No.
Just substitute x equals to...
It doesn't ask for it, you have to.
Yes, you do. in the exam, yeah, don't forget the y-intercept. I'm not doing it because you know how to do it, but just because I don't do it doesn't mean you don't have to do it. You have to. Okay? I feel like that's one of those things, if I don't do something up on the board, you just don't do it as well because I don't do it, but in the exam you have to do it. So don't, you know what, I won't do it, it's a waste of time, but you know how to do it. Yeah. Now, girls? Yeah. Hold on. Girls, there are two main techniques that I'm going to teach you here and here. One thing you need to notice is here, I'm going to write it in exclamation mark. If there, girls, what do you notice? If there is no what, do you realize in this equation there is no constant?
Yeah.
What's a constant?
The constant without
Number without x. There is no constant. We don't have like something like that. Every one of these numbers has an x. So girls, if there is no constant, the first step you should always do is factorize x out. Because if I do that here, I will get a constant. Now, another thing, I'm going to factorize x out, but I'm also going to factorize negative x out. Because if the leading term has a negative, you also want to take that out. Okay? Because you don't want to have negative inside the bracket. Negative on the leading power. So if I take negative x out, what will I have in here? What will I get? Negative x times what is x4? x3. Next one, please. Girls, can you stop that?
3x squared.
What? Minus. Yeah? This is very important you get the inside right or you're going to get the whole thing wrong.
Minus x6.
Yeah? See, once you factorize it out, now you do have a constant. Now we do have a cubic polynomial which we know how to factorize. Well, how do I factorize that? We use long division to factorize this. But in order to use long division, how do I? By trial and error, we are going to find a number that goes into this. By trial and error, I'm going to tell you the answer right now. 1 is a factor. So I'll do it here. So what does that mean, girls? That means this.
x minus 1 equals to...
Yeah, so I'm going to divide that whole thing by x minus 1. If 1 is a factor, as a linear equation, you take the opposite sign. No, if plus 1 is a factor, as an equation, you take the opposite. And then inside here, you divide by that. Okay. Girls, you know how to do that. So I'm not going to do it, but I'll tell you the question. The question you're going to get is this. Okay. Girls, assuming we know that, that means now, girls listening, I can rewrite this, or I can rewrite this big bracket as what? What does this bracket equal to?
x plus 2.
That times that.
Yeah.
I'll write it this for now. Hey girls, what else am I missing though here?
The minus x.
These two brackets is this big bracket broken into two. I can't neglect that out. So you just put it in front of it. I wanted everyone to know. Okay? Girls, am I done here?
No.
No. What can I do?
Quadratic.
Yeah, girls, I can further factorize that using cross method. So what two numbers? It's pretty obvious.
4 and minus 2.
Minus 4 and 2.
Yeah.
Yep. So all of this is now, I'll write it in black, minus x, x minus 1, and these two. Yeah, so girls, now this is how you fully factorize it. So you can draw a graph like this or that. You have to sketch it, but I'm not going to do, actually I need to. Yeah, I will. Girls, here's how a Quartic graph looks like. I'll write the values. What does x equal to here? 0, plus 1, plus 4, minus 2. All right? So I've got 0, 1, 4, minus 2. I'll find the y-intercept later. Now, girls, looking at our original equation, it's a minus x to the power 4. That means the graph has to end with the tail going down And at the same time, it has to go through all of this. So it's just go with the flow. It's just like this. So this is your answer. Okay? This is what a quartic graph looks like. Quartic graph is x to the power 4. So this is your decreasing quartic graph. Increasing quartic graph would be the other way.
Wait, what's the difference between that and the other one that we drew?
This is cubic. Cubic is just this. It's either this or this. Yep. Now, this is for positive x4.
You wrote 4 there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so this one is still a quartic graph, but it doesn't look like that because it's got a triple root.
Okay.
Yeah, just like this one, it has a double root, so it doesn't look, it looks somewhat like that, but if it has a triple root, it will look slightly different. Okay? So girls, you need to memorize this. Okay? So girls, this is the first, one of the 2 main skills I wanted to teach you when you're dealing with x to the power 4.
Skills.
This is a skill. The skill is the exclamation mark. This is a very important skill. If there is no constant, you take x out. This is a skill I want you girls to take away from this. If I put an exclamation mark, that's the important technique I want you to take away from that example. Now, girls, second technique I want you to take away from here. Okay? Listening, this is important. If you have to the power 4, to the power of 2, and a constant, girls, does that look somewhat familiar to you?
Yes.
What does it look like? Girls, instead of writing the equation like that, I'm going to write it like this, and I want you to see if you can pick it up. Girls, the reason why I want to write it like that, girls, here's the next step further. This is very important. You're going to need this until year 12. Girls, do you get what I've done here? Who's just like, nah, you look so stressed. Girls, x squared to the power of 2 is x to the power of 4, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, because 2 times 2 is 4.
Yeah.
That x squared itself, it's the same thing. I just wrote x squared as a bracket. The reason why I want to do that, girls, I'm going to replace all the brackets or the x squared with big X, and then now I want you girls to see this. Girls, you need to understand this. What kind of equation is that? It's your normal quadratic equation, is it not? So this is the technique I want you to take away. Girls, when you have the power of 4, 2, and a constant, this is going to be something you'll be using quite often in the future.
I don't even get what that means, but okay.
So you're replacing x squared with big X. So you're reducing these two powers by 2 to make it look like quadratic equation, because you know how to solve quadratic equation now. Yeah.
Does it only work with 4 and 2? Or can you
No, it works for any higher power as long as it's okay. If it was like 6, it would have to be 6, 3, and a number.
Do we have to know that
Yeah?
now?
Alright.
No, but I would like you to know. In other selective schools, they put this kind of question in the exam.
Okay.
So it's the technique you should be knowing. Girls, now that we've done that, how do I solve it? What's the first? Yeah. What's the first? Let's take the minus out. Girls, you know how? Girls, if there's a minus, always take the minus out first. All right, tell me what to write inside if I take the minus out. Oh, plus.
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm wrong. Is that correct? All right, let's see now if I can use cross method to factorize that.
No. Yes. No. Oh, yes.
I can. Perfect. So this is now equal to minus. Okay. Girls, once I've got that, I'm not done yet. Okay. Girls, what does x equal to here?
4. 9.
9. Now, I'm not done here, because what does my x represent in the beginning?
X squared.
X squared. So that means x squared is equal to, no, 4. x squared is equal to 9. So what does x equal to from here?
2 and 3. Oh yeah, plus minus.
If you square root 4, you got to put plus or minus in front. And the next one, please, this one?
Plus minus 3.
Plus minus 3. Yeah? Almost done. Almost done. Now I've got to plot it out. All right, let's plot this out. Girls, stay with me. I'm almost done. Let's plot this out. Plus 2.
Yeah.
This thing. Minus 2. What's my next one, please?
3 and minus
3. Minus 3. All right, I've got the 4 points.
What about 0?
There's no 0. Oh, actually. Is it? No, there isn't. All right.
It's going down.
Yeah, because of the sign in front, it's a decreasing graph. So it's once again this one.
Do we find out why for that?
Now, with this example, I will label the y-intercept. It's pretty straightforward because it's basically the number without x. It's just minus 36.
How would you know that?
Because if you substitute x equals to 0, 0 plus 0.
She doesn't know.
Yep. So, yep, girls, so this is how you draw quartic graphs. 4 points. These are 2 major skills that you need to know and you'll be using all the way to HSC. Just to summarize, no constant, take x out. If you have the powers in that order, 4, 2 and a number, substitution technique. Okay? If you have a triple graph, draw either one of them depending on the sign in front of x to the power 4.